Yeah, Miran. It is so hard to watch. And I would ask the American people, does that look like an attorney general, or does it look like a spokesperson for the president? Those were fair questions she was being asked by those senators about Tom Homan, about Jeff Epstein, about the National Guard being deployed into our cities, and she stonewalled them. And I guess we shouldn't expect anything better from a Department of Justice that's instructed attorneys to stonewall judges.
Ryan Crosswell didn't step into the spotlight to play politics. He came forward because he couldn't stay quiet in the face of what he witnessed behind the closed doors of America's Justice Department. A system he believes is being reshaped into a personal instrument of power. Tonight, Crosswell sets the record straight on Pam Bondi's performance, the real stakes for democracy, and while the DOJ's critic mission is slipping into something far more troubling than any political headline.
Yesterday, you actually had a hearing, an oversight hearing, which happens. You see, I need to explain this for people in the White House who may not understand this. There are three separate and equal branches of government. Now, here's the deal. You're in the second branch. There's a reason it's the second branch, because the founders made Congress the first branch. It's the Article 1 branch. They have all the money, right? I know right now the Supreme Court's kind of gunking things up and not doing their job, but the first branch has all the money. They have the checkbook. And with that checkbook, they have oversight. And what happened yesterday was not an oversight hearing. It was somebody coming from the Article 2 branch.
This isn't just about barotic fall-ins of tabloid drama. It's a pattern, one that threatens the integrity of the nation's most important law enforcement institution. Crosswell newly resigned because of the DOJ dropped corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, offers a lens into the dark transformation underway within the Department of Justice and Bondi's role at its center. Her stonewalling in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee wasn't just difficult to watch, it was a symptom of something much deeper.
Before James Comey's indictment, you had dinner with the President of the United States. Pretty intimate group.
Actually, there were a lot of people there that night. That's a great picture.
Was James Comey discussed at that dinner?
I love that picture. That's a great picture.
I mean, she's making a mockery of it.
Completely. And just to go back to what happened there, President Trump essentially posted an enemies list in that tweet. Then he appointed his personal attorney to indict the case because nobody else in that office would do so, which she did, and then they promised more prosecutions. And I believe that Mr. Comey will ultimately be vindicated. I think there's going to be strong grand jury misconduct motions, vindictive prosecution motions, and selective prosecution motions. But it's going to come after the American taxpayers have wasted a bunch of money on this prosecution.
Pam Bondi walked into the hearing with all eyes on her. Senators bombarded her with hard, fair questions about Tom Homan, about Jeffrey Epstein, about the controversial deployment of the National Guard into American cities. But Bondi's responses were consistent: evade, deflect, and stonewall. When asked if she'd received instructions from the White House about whom to investigate, she skirted the topic. When confronted about the ongoing probe of former FBI Director James Comey, Bondi retreated, claiming no comment on conversations with the president of her predecessors.
I am not going to discuss any conversations I have, nor any investigations, nor
you are unwilling to tell
pending
this committee
cases.
about conversations with the White House
And if I
regarding
may
James
continue,
Comey's indictment.
and if I may
Let me show
continue,
you a picture.
James Comey was indicted by one of the most liberal grand juries in the United States.
The night before James Comey's indictment, you had dinner with the President of the United States. Pretty intimate group.
Actually, there were a lot of
Comey
people there that
discussed-
night. That's a
was
great
James
picture.
Comey discussed at that dinner?
I love that picture. That's a great picture. And there were a lot of people there that night. I think the
No.
entire cabinet was there.
Did you discuss James Comey with the President of the United States? He was sitting just to your left.
Well, 2 seats down. Yes, 2 seats down. And I am not going to discuss any
I'm going to take
conversations
that
I've
as
had
a
or not
yes,
have with the
because
President
the
of the
American
United
public
States.
is entitled to know, Madam Attorney General.
The entire
whether
cabinet
you
was at that dinner.
took
too,
instructions from President Trump after he told you very directly to indict James Comey, which is weaponization of the Department of Justice.
Senator Dick Durbin pressed Bondi on whether she had ordered the flagging of Epstein records tied to President Trump. Bondi again refused to answer directly. Democratic lawmakers raised credible allegations from Holmes' reported $50,000 bribe to the unexplained handling of Epstein files, to whether enough of evidence existed to charge Comey. Each time, Bondi dodged, redirected, or launched personal attacks against her questionnaires, turning oversight into fear instead of truth.
I think it's a continuation of what I witnessed firsthand in the Justice Department, the Eric Adams case. It is the Trump administration protecting its friends and pursuing its opponents. It's the same thing. I've prosecuted bribery cases where a bag of cash was handed over. It's as solid a case as you can possibly have. And the most galling part about it is the Pam Bondi has the audacity to say that nobody's above the law. But we know that's not true. Eric Adams is above the law, Tom Homan's above the law, and apparently anyone containing the Epstein files.
Ryan Crosswell finds Bondi's performance especially tragic because he devoted his career to pursuing genuine justice. The DOJ's mission, he emphasizes, is about protecting the public and holding the powerful accountable, regardless of rank or affiliation. But with Bondi as the president's attorney general, the department has become increasingly partisan, weaponized to settle scores and protect insiders. Crosswell points out that Adams' case was one of many, a labored effort to shield the president's friends while going after opponents.
For the Attorney General to not answer any questions, but to literally come with canned insults. Because there are a lot of questions that need to be asked. Like, for instance, did you ever speak to the President of the United States about arresting his political enemies? Because we all saw on social media that the President said, you need to arrest my political enemies, and you need to arrest my political enemies very quickly. So, it seems to me, in any Congress, in any year, since this constitutional republic was founded, this is a question that members of Congress would ask members of the administration. Yesterday, not a single answer. And as J. Mart said early on, you know, we're supposed to be shocked and stunned and deeply saddened. I'm just not. That hurts. As J. Mart said, that hurts the Republicans. That hurts the administration. That hurts Pam Bondi. That hurts the Justice Department to come off looking that way. It just does. And now Donald Trump talking about arresting a mayor and arresting a governor, like because he disagrees with, how long is that list now of people that he said need to be arrested? And whatever happened to all the Republicans who said that Joe Biden, he weaponized the Justice Department and, we're not going to do this when we get into power. It just keeps going. Add to the list. Over all the things they said they were not going to do. Free speech, forget about it. Forget about it. Cancel culture, forget about it. They're more into it than ever.
At the heart of Crosswell's alarm is the realization that President Trump maintains an enemies list and is using Bondi, his personal attorney turned attorney general, to go after adversaries who, in his view, cannot be handled through ordinary channels. Particularly in cases like that of James Comey, Bondi's selective pursuit of enemies and reluctance to answer for it during oversight hearings are echoing through every corner of the DOJ. The Comey case is especially telling.
It's so telling. The Eastern District of Virginia is one of the most prestigious U.S. attorney's offices in the country. And that to me says they can't find a single federal prosecutor in that office that's willing to do the case and says she needs help. I think it's very telling.
When you talk to your former colleagues, are people feeling, do you think more people are going to leave, or are people saying that they feel they need to stay?
I think morale is way down. I've heard a statistic today that maybe 5,000 people left the Department of Justice since inauguration. And I think what American people need to understand is how dangerous that is. The Department of Justice protects us from terrorists, from drug dealers, from violent criminals, from child predators, and competent federal prosecutors are being driven out and being replaced by hacks that are more concerned with protecting the president of the American people.
After the abrupt resignation of the previous U.S. Attorney in Virginia, Lindsey Halligan, Trump's hand-picked interim was installed despite lacking relevant prosecutorial experience. Halligan then recruited 2 assistant U.S. attorneys from North Carolina, bypassing the numerous seasoned prosecutors in Virginia's prestigious office. The move led to open questions in court and among legal experts about legitimacy. Even Comey's legal team is launching a formal motion to challenge whether Halligan's appointment is valid, exposing another crack in the department's foundation.
Attorney General Bondi, is a simple yes-no question. Do you believe that government officials like Gregor Bovino are obligated to follow applicable court orders, whether they agree with them or not? Yes or no?
First, Senator Padilla, you have gone on for over 5 minutes, and I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. We'd be in really good shape then, because violent crime in California is currently 35% higher than the national average.
I do want to go back to Homan. You know, there's a tape, right, with Mr. Homan? I mean, first of all, is there a tape that has audio and video of the transfer of the $50,000?
You would have to talk to Director Patel about that.
No, I'm talking to you.
I don't know the answer, Senator.
Yes, you do know the answer to that.
Don't call me a liar.
I didn't call you a liar.
You just said I know the answer. I said I don't know the answer.
Well,
Public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him?
Bondi's refusal to discuss the deployment of the National Guard into cities despite clear evidence of her agency's involvement marks another instance of institutional opacity. When pressed about specific conversations with the White House and internal memos, Bondi simply refused to discuss anything about that, leaving senators and the public in the dark. The hearing revealed Bondi's pattern of protecting Trump's allies as she sidestepped every single question about Tom Homan's alleged $50,000 bribe. Was the cash returned? Were charges being considered? Bondi's DOJ claimed no evidence of wrongdoing but gave no details, prompting further accusations that figures tied to Trump were above the law.
I took office with two main goals: to end the weaponization of justice and return the department to its core mission of fighting violent crime. While there is more work to do, I believe in 8 short months, we have made tremendous progress towards those ends.
Madam Attorney General, let me ask you this question. Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
I noticed that. What's the secret? Why do you want to keep this secret? The American people don't know the rationale behind the deployment of National Guard troops in my state. The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I've been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not they had a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for a personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this.
The bitter irony, as Crosswell observes, is that Bondi regularly pledges allegiance to the law in public but operates very differently within the corridors of power. Attorneys are being asked not just to bend but to break, stonewalling judges, evading oversight, and helping the administration exact revenge instead of serving justice. Crosswell insists this isn't what he signed up for, nor what America's justice system should be known for. Crosswell's testimony resonates for anyone concerned about the erosion of institutional standards. The DOJ was not built on personalities, it was built on process, transparency, and fearless pursuit of facts. Yet as Bondi clings to a role as Trump's Attorney General, the department's greatest asset, its legitimacy, is slipping away. If you all enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, because what is happening in the US at the moment through Congress is absolutely crazy. Pam Bondi's absolute craziness, how she's getting away with this, I have no idea. Please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you all for editing this video, by the way, I really appreciate it.